What's happening, peeps? And welcome to my very first game review. And today we will be taking a look at Until Dawn, a survival horror game made by Supermassive Games and released last Tuesday, I believe. And I have played through it, I have beaten it, and I am here to give my thoughts. So, being that this is my first game review ever, I am going to tell you what I am going to judge the game on. Firstly, it'll be the plot, and then the characters, and then the gameplay, and then presentation, performance, and rating, or my rating. I literally have an outline right now because I want this to be a little bit more organized than my previous videos. So, firstly, the plot. The plot to Until Dawn is actually pretty simple. As stated previously, it's a survival horror game, um, and it follows 8 friends who basically take a vacation to one of their family's lodges. It's like in the middle of the wood, or not woods, mountains. It's a great place, secluded. So if anything bad happened, you're all fucked. Anyway, yeah. So they take a vacation there, and they plan on partying hardy, party like it's 1999, and obviously things don't quite turn out the way they were hoping, for there is a psycho killer on the loose. I hate it when that happens. So yeah, there's a psycho killer on the loose, and it's basically a struggle to survive until dawn. Hey, there's the title. I see what they did there. And that is the plot. Very simple, and I like that, because a lot of times with modern gaming, because gaming, especially this one, they are trying to be more cinematic, so they're trying to tell a better story. But more often than not, I feel like the game story could get somewhat convoluted, and full of itself. And this is something that it doesn't. It's a very, very straightforward plot, and that's partially because what the game is inspired on. The game is inspired on 80s horror movies, like especially the slasher flick genre, like Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th movies and Halloween and stuff like that. It's very heavily inspired by that, and you will see that when playing the game. Not in like gameplay or anything, but when you're playing it, or even watching a scene play out, you could see maybe the killer in the background. So yeah, that's what this game is inspired on. It's a very simple premise, and I like that. I like that. So, plot was good. I like the plot. So next, and this is probably the most important, or not the most important, but one of them, the characters. As stated, and I'm going to try and state their names right now. The characters' names are Beth, Hannah, Sam, Chris, Josh, Mike, Jennifer, and Emily. I think I got all of them. I don't think I repeated any. So yeah, 8 friends. So the important thing in a game like this are likable characters. And one trend in 80s horror films was that the characters weren't really likable. Like in Friday the 13th, those movies, I gave 2 shits about the camp counselors. I wanted to see them get killed. So, going into this game, actually, I was under that mentality. Because I knew it was based off of those horror movies, so I wanted to see people get killed in creative ways. But surprisingly, when I actually started playing the game, I kind of grew attached to them, and that is something I was not planning on doing, because I mean, it's a video game. I really don't get attached to characters all that much, unless it's like a really, really gripping story like The Last of Us. So I wasn't planning on liking the characters, but I did, at least most of them. Um, so why do I like them? Well, in the beginning of the game when I first started, there were some characters that got on my nerves. Like Chris, I thought was really annoying. Actually, he was kind of showboaty. I mean, he's supposed to be the stereotypical nerd in a horror movie, and a lot of his dialogue I thought was like really cheesy, and I just could not like him at all. But then through some events in the game, I actually saw good qualities in him. He cares for his friends, and honestly, he will do, at least the way I played him, and he will do absolutely anything for them. And he's loyal, which I liked. So yeah, the more you play the game, the more you find out about these characters, and that only strengthens your bond with them. So a character that you might hate in the beginning, like I wasn't crazy on Chris, you might actually really like in the end. A character like Mike. Mike was kind of like the douchebag of the group, especially in the very beginning of the game. Um, so yeah, I wasn't crazy about Mike then because you're not supposed to like the douche in the horror movie. You want to see him get his comeuppance. But towards the middle of the game, which is spoiler territory, so I'm not gonna talk about it. I actually really liked him. He's actually probably my second favorite character. Um, yeah, so the longer you play with them, the more you find out, and that's something that is definitely explored in this game. Having said that, my favorite character in the game would probably be Sam, which is played by, I'm gonna butcher her name, Hayden Panettiere. I think that's how you pronounce it. She was in Scream 4 and Heroes and Kingdom Hearts 2, I think. And she did a great job. When I went into the game, I thought she was actually the main character because she's the character I see the most in commercials, TV spots, trailers, stuff like that. So, excuse me. So, I thought she was the main character, and to a point she is, because she kind of does encompass all the main character tropes in a horror movie. Like, you know, um, there she's always the one that is not in favor of a bad idea. She's very straight edge. I'll put it like that. So, and usually your protagonist in a horror movie is straight edge. No sex for that character. If there's, yeah. So I don't want to go into spoiler territory again, guys. So, but yeah, she definitely appeared to me as the main protagonist, and honestly, this game doesn't have a main protagonist. You spend a lot of time with each character, which is, again, helps flesh out their characters some more, which is why you go to like them. So, she was not the main character, I guess. I sort of considered her to be, at least in my playthrough, but, so yeah. But she was great. She was my favorite character. And as for my least favorite character, all I'm gonna say is, fuck Emily. Fuck her. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna talk more about it in my spoiler video, but Jesus Christ, she was a bitch. Okay? Holy shit. And that's all I'm saying for now. So, overall, excuse me, guys, I have a cough right now. I don't know. So yeah, the characters were good. Very. I would say that they're fleshed out decently okay. Some more than others. Like, Jessica, not really. Guys, I am sorry. I have like something stuck in my throat. Oh boy, okay. But I will continue for your sake because I like you. That was weird. Anyway, let's get to the next section. The gameplay. That wasn't for the gameplay, that was me coughing, because, yeah, it's unprofessional. And I pride myself on being professional. God damn it. Okay, so the gameplay of Until Dawn is very, very, very similar to Heavy Rain. You will be walking a lot, so you do have control of the characters, but there's a lot of cutscenes, there's a lot of quick time events, and that's basically it. And there's a lot of decision making where you have to choose one option or another option. So that's essentially the gameplay. Very, very simple. But this game is actually supposed to come out on the PS3. It was like a completely different game, I think. So they did include motion controls with it. I didn't use it because I am not a fan of motion control, just personally. But I hear they actually work really, really well. So I haven't tested them. I just went with the analog stick. So, but based on what I've been seeing from other people, the motion control actually seems pretty responsive and good. So that might be something to consider if you play the game. Um, but yeah, one thing I liked about the gameplay is how much it affected the story. I mean, granted, there's not much to it, but when you have to make a decision, and you have to either, you know, go left, and the left decision will be, I don't know, this isn't a decision in the game. It will be to help Chris, or the right decision would be to keep writing. Or, oh my god, what am I talking about right now? I'm sorry guys, it's 9:14 in the morning, I'm still tired. The right decision would be to keep running. That's what I wanted to say. I can talk. Anyway, it'll be something like that. So you can either let him die, or just forget about him, or keep running. And depending what you do, if you maybe save him or try to save him, you might actually get killed. But if you keep running, he might not actually get killed, and he just might get back up. So there are big consequences to all of your choices, and I love that because the whole premise of the game was, in the end of the game, you can either have all your characters make it out alive, or you can have none of them make it out alive. Which means one wrong move in a quick time event, or a wrong choice in one of those branching paths I just talked about, that could mean the end for a character for good, and he cannot reload saves. So again, that definitely did help the game a lot, because that is really, I don't know, it made it feel a lot more tense than it probably should have, because especially at the end when things are, shit's hitting the fan, I didn't want certain characters to die, so I had to really, really, keep my wits about me and make good choices. Not all of them were good choices, though, which sucked. But again, talk about that in the spoiler video. Um, so yeah, that's a big portion of the game. Now I said that motion controls weren't in the game, but I kind of forgot about. There's some things in the game, right, where there's a certain scenario and you cannot move. Now, how does that work? I mean, when the game doesn't know when you're moving, it's not like the Kinect. Well, using your DualShock 4, you have to. Well, I'm assuming you're playing like this. You literally cannot move the controller. And honestly, at least in my first playthrough, this was actually not too hard. I never failed once. But then I didn't like the ending I got, so I tried it again. And there's a section in the end of the game where you don't move. And I guess I moved, and one of my characters died. I don't think that's a spoiler because characters can die. That's the premise of the game. So, don't move. Don't move. One thing I want to know though is, why don't you put it like on a flat surface like that and just kind of like play it almost like a keyboard? Well, that really, I don't know. But yeah, that was a really cool feature, and honestly, it was. I mean, I said in my first playthrough I never fucked up once. That's not to say that it wasn't hard. Like, especially towards the end of the game, you have to hold it for like a good 30 seconds, and your arms do get tired after a while. So it's it's real. That's a really cool feature. I'm not huge on motion controls, and I guess technically it isn't, but sort of it is. That's what I really liked in the game. That was really awesome. The other big part of the game, and this is again something that was widely talked about upon its release, it has a system called the butterfly effect. Butterfly effect, and it ties in with the choice making um, aspect of the game. So basically, when you make a choice in the game, a certain choice, not all of them, it can actually impact future events. For instance, if you choose to, okay, if you are wandering about and you see a baseball bat, um, you can actually leave that baseball bat in a specific place, and then later in the game, when the killer is hunting you down, you could actually use it, as opposed to, and if you use it, that might mean you live, and if you live, that might mean you get to go on future portions of the game with that character. As opposed to if you didn't find the baseball bat and you didn't set it down, that might mean you actually get killed, and then you can't see the future portions of the game with that character. So I don't think I think we all know what the butterfly effect is. So basically, it's just one event affects another event, affects another event, affects another event. That's basically what it is. And honestly, I wasn't that. I didn't. I mean, there's a screen in the game when you could actually check to see, what events happen and what events affected others. I didn't check it all that much, um, so I wasn't that too engaged in this butterfly effect system. It just kind of seemed like just choice making. I mean, a lot of games do it, so I mean, it's I mean, it's a good system, but it just seems like it's not exactly groundbreaking because I mean, all they are choices, and your choices affect other choices. We've seen that in games before, plenty of times. So, not to shit on the system, but they try to make it sound like it was new. Not really new, guys. Fun, no doubt about that, but definitely not new or unique. So, that's basically the gameplay in a nutshell. Plays like Heavy Rain, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Plays like Heavy Rain. If you like Heavy Rain, you'll like this. Okay, so finally, no, not finally, not finally, finally. Presentation. How does the game look? The game looks fucking awesome. This would be a good part to show you the graphics, but I do not have a graphics card or any means of recording stuff. Oops. But the presentation is beautiful, and specifically the characters' faces. They look awesome. Like, I am seriously hyped for the future of gaming, because if they look anything like that, we're in for a treat. As for environments, graphically they were fine. Not mind blowing or anything. Definitely not like, up to par with like the faces, but the lighting was good. And yeah, that was probably, I mean, they were good. They, the when you're out in the forest, it looks nice. When you're looking, at mountains or something, those look nice. Not mind blowing, but they look decent. They look decent. Um, so the only gripe I have with the graphics in this game, I talked how good their faces looked, but when they talk, okay, I'm gonna do a reenactment. This is how a character in Until Dawn talks. Oh man, I totally was wasted the other day. Why are their teeth always showing in this game when they're talking? Oh, Josh! It's basically like that. So, they need a little bit of work with the talking in this game, because whenever they talk, all I'm seeing are big teeth and words coming out. That's all I see. So, again, faces look awesome. Immense detail in them. Talking, though, not the greatest. It does kind of take you out of the movie experience, because people in movies don't talk like, you know, the, they're always smiling. I mean, that's another thing. They always look like they're smiling when they're talking. It's like, oh no, this character died. I don't know why I'm smiling. So, it looks like that. So, a little bit more work can be done with that in future games, but overall, it looked good. As for music, there was not too many memorable tracks in the game. They served their purpose, because, I mean, they definitely were. I mean, they definitely did sound like they were from, 80s horror films or something. So, the music and ambient music was all fine. It was serviceable. Nothing extraordinary, but it was serviceable. Um, the the theme of the game though, which plays out in the title credits, um, that's actually really good. I think it's called "Oh Death," I think, but that is actually a really catchy song. I'm not gonna lie, and it really got me into the game. It's like okay, production quality's here, so, and I like the song, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. So, music was okay. The opening theme was really awesome, but overall presentation was good. It was really good. It showed off what the PS4 can do. Okay, and the final section where we're I can never say that we're it's weird. Where we are going to talk about the game's qualities is performance. Now this is something I feel like a lot of reviewers don't talk about too often, and it is actually pretty important. So by performance, I mean how well does the game run, and were there any glitches, stuff like that. The game's supposed to run at an unlocked 30 frames per second, I believe. For probably 90% of the game, it was dipping probably in 25 frames per second area, and it was very, very noticeable. And at least, see, the thing is, when people usually talk about frame rate dips and talk and say it's a bad thing, I don't mind frame rate dips if one, it's still playable, obviously, and two, if it's consistent. Like the game was always like at 25 frames per second, so at least 90% of the time, like I said. So when I was playing through it, I just kind of got used to it. There wasn't any stuttering or anything, or that fucked me over. Um, so if you are going to not be 30 frames per second, but still have a decent frame rate, just make it consistent, which they did. So I would have liked for it to be 60 or 30 FPS, but okay, fine, 25. It's not the greatest. I would have preferred others, but at least it was playable. And there were times, by the way, when it definitely did dip, below 20. But then there were times when it looked like it was actually 60 FPS at certain points. So it definitely, you know, stretched its boundaries all across the border. Sometimes it was below 20, sometimes it was almost 60. I don't know. It's crazy. The frame rate is crazy in this game. Um, but yeah, very playable still. There wasn't any game-breaking bugs that I encountered in this game anyway. The only thing, actually two things. One, I don't know about you guys, but this game made my fucking PS4 sound like a fucking airplane. I swear to God. The amount of noise my PS4 was making while playing this game, only this game, mind you, it was so loud. It was really freaking loud. I honestly thought it was actually going to catch on fire. So let me guys know if your PS4 did that, because, I mean, this is the only game it does it, really. It was fucking loud. I know it's because there's a lot of stuff on screen and the PS4 is trying to process it all and stuff like that, but that was, it did get a little annoying because I'm trying to listen to the game and all I hear is I don't think that's how my PS4 sounded, but if yours sounds like that, you may want to trade it in, because that sounded really bad. The other thing, and this was annoying, it happened twice in the game, and I have no idea why. Sometimes I was faced with two decisions, and without pushing a button or moving the analog stick into a certain direction, the game made its choice, and it was always to the right choice. I don't think it's my controller because no other games have this problem. And luckily, this didn't really fuck over my playthrough that much because no one died as a result of it. But it still is, especially in a game like this, that needs to be addressed. And I'm hoping maybe it was me, maybe I was just pushing it down without noticing, but I don't think I was. Part of me thinks maybe it was motion controls, because I did have my controller tilted over that way, and that's how you make decisions with motion controls, is you either tilt it left or you tilt it right. And I was maybe tilting it to the right, but I didn't have motion controls on. So, I don't know, that honestly could have fucked me over a lot more than it actually did. So that was something I noticed. So overall, the thing to get from performance, it performs okay, and there are a few glitches here and there, but nothing game breaking. No crashes, which is awesome. So yeah, so that's performance for you. So that leads to my final rating and recommendations. I would give this game an 8 out of 10. It's a great game. I had a lot of fun with it. In terms of recommendations, if you like horror games, and if you're a fan of Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, because it does play very similar to it. Those two things in mind, if you are a fan of those, then definitely go for this game. It's a new experience, I mean, at least for me, because I never played Heavy Rain, and I had a lot of fun with it. So, people that wouldn't like it, if you're looking for an action-heavy game, a Twitch-based shooter or something like that, or even something like Last of Us, which is definitely more hands-on. If you're looking for that, you're probably going to be disappointed. Just know what you're getting into before you buy the game. So, guys, that is it for now. I'm hoping you enjoy my first game review. Went on a little bit longer than I was hoping. Based on everything I said, I hope you can make an educated decision as to whether or not you want to buy the game or not. And yeah, stick around for my PS. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. This is why I need to edit my videos. Stick around for my spoiler review of the game, or not review, but spoiler talk about the game. And yeah, latest on the MJ.